Simona, how's it going today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Doing really well. How are you liking the venue of ETHIndia?
I think it's brilliant. I love all the different kind of levels. I love the different areas. The games that are happening today on the second day are really kind of dynamic and really cool. So, yeah, loving it. Good job.
Yeah, I was playing the M&M game, and I don't think I did really well, but I had a lot of fun.
That's what it's all about.
Yep. So tell me about the first time you used Ethereum or you were playing around with it.
So for me, I got into the space very much because I'm a firm believer in giving access to resource and information and work to everyone around the world. So this is something in terms of social impact, in terms of being able to connect people regardless of where they're from, regardless of their background, regardless of whether they come from a country that has an infrastructure or doesn't. For me, it was very, very important, and I've always been passionate about it. And I think as I started doing a lot of talks and a lot of research into it, I came across Ethereum and came across Consensus, and that's how I kind of got into the idea of building the solutions to achieve this kind of widespread global collaboration without borders.
So what is your project and how did it get started?
So I head up community and communications for the Bounties network. And the Bounties network is a consensus formation. And we basically got started to essentially create the building blocks of the new P2P, peer-to-peer economy. And by doing that, what the Bounties network does for that is it allows the creation of tasks on any vertical, paying out in Ethereum or any ERC20 token, and really using it to incentivize and organize action in terms of projects, initiatives, be it for code, for design, for translation, for actual social impact, environmental projects. And that's really what got us going and growing. It's this idea of using the bounty, which is a very simple format. It's essentially a task, and you get a reward for fulfilling it. Using it as the motivator and the thing that galvanizes action around the world again.
It does seem like it can be really changing and give people anywhere around the world opportunities. What has been the most exciting project in the space that's not yours?
So I mean, it's so hard to pick, right? There's so many cool ones, and for me, it's very cool to see that we're trying to really look at everything from music to supply chain to travel to real estate, anything and everything, right? We're looking at how we can make things better through Web 3.0 across the board. So I think a lot of one of the key ones for me in terms of live dApps that are live on mainnet right now, obviously Gitcoin is a great one for growing open source, right? They use bounties, but they use them for open source and it's dev bounties only. They actually, a lot of people don't know this, but they actually sit on top of the Bounties network as one of the verticals, but you can essentially have a lot of verticals on the Bounties network. So Gitcoin is a great example. Then you have great applications like Civil that's trying to decentralize journalism and really get to the point where there is no government interference in the media, there is no censorship, right? So you're trying to completely decentralize how we get news, how we digest news, and how we access it. And because it's decentralized, you're never in that situation where you're in a country where the state controls the media. So that's super exciting.
Very important.
Yes.
What's the best thing that hasn't been built yet?
That's a tough one. I think as we develop the current projects, we're going to come across a lot of things that we still need. but only by doing and by getting everybody involved so that we're all creating this new decentralized world together. That's when we're going to notice these things that will still need to be built in order to achieve what we really want to achieve. So I think a lot of it will be a way of connecting all the decentralized applications that make sense. So having a lot of kind of flow between them if they make sense. So for instance, let's say I could have a flow between the Bounties network and Civil, where people could incentivize journalists to cover a certain story. Right. So really what you want is almost like building blocks that can be connected very seamlessly. Yes. So I think maybe that, like a seamless path between all the dApps.
Curiosity is awesome, and you can kind of see it here. And going along with your past question, what has been your experience with the hackers here? I know you did a session with all about ETHIndia for women. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. I think for me, it's the passion that people have. And really again, like we said, that curiosity, but it's more than that. It's almost a driver that they want to be involved in changing the world, or they want to be part of this huge collaborative effort that we're all in this together, and we're all working to create it together. And I think it's that understanding that it's not me versus you, it's all of us together. And there's that understanding here, culturally, that it's a group effort.
Got it.
Right? Got it. There's none of this, oh no, this is mine, that's yours. And I think here you can feel it a lot more than in a lot of regions of the world, right? Where we've been we're used to a little bit a more egotistical approach. Right. Whereas here it is that collaboration, that group effort. Right. So yesterday, thank you for mentioning that. So yesterday we ran a little meetup that we actually live streamed through LivePeer, who are live streaming the whole of the ETHIndia event. And actually we had all of the women that were here, hackers, volunteers, obviously the organizers, part of the organizers for ETHIndia, and we had almost 20, 30 women, and we had a great discussion all about how did they get started, how did they find out about blockchain, why did they get involved. And it's beautiful to see all the different stories, all the different backgrounds, all the different levels of knowledge. Like some were very, very advanced and had been in the space for 2 years, some had just started. This was the first hackathon or any kind of blockchain event that they had ever attended. But it's this kind of desire to get involved, to create something because it is important for them. And the ideas that we had coming out were, creating something for education. That was a big part of our discussion. It was all about education and how can we make it easier? How can we make information or access to information quicker, easier, more accessible to anyone, right? This is what we're focusing on right now. It's anyone. Anyone should be able to go to a meetup or attend a webinar online if they can, or access material that's, in English or maybe translated in their native language. So really speeding that education process up, I think that was the key takeaway from our discussion. Just how open people are and how keen they are to know about things, to learn about things, to explore things, because it's kind of a drive that I think will take India very, very far, particularly in this space. And it's that drive and that knowledge and that desire to get involved that's really, I believe, is gonna make sure that India is up there when it comes to blockchain development.
Right on. I'm excited to hear that. Being in India, it seems like blockchain people are quirky. So what's your quirk?
They are quirky. We're a quirky bunch. I think, what's my quirk? I don't know. I think I obviously, I try to do a lot of stuff with always putting myself in other people's shoes. I don't think that's really a quirk, but maybe it is by, today's society standards, right? It's all very, very me, me, me. But actually, if we do more of putting ourselves in the other person's shoes and understanding where they're coming from and understanding their position, I think we would get a lot further. So
maybe
that's what I tried to do.
That's the underlying theme of the Bounties Network.
Maybe it is.
Right.
Maybe it is.
And then the final question is, what's your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji. I think the two that I use more than any others, I'll do two.
Sure. I'll give you, for you, there's an exception.
Thank you. So it's the horns.
Okay.
So let's rock this, rock on. And then the flame, the fire.
Right.
So it's pretty much just go, let's do things, let's create things. I think those two are, I use them the most. Where you have the recently used?
Right.
Yeah, those two are the top ones.
Right. I think the fire emoji, I use that a lot as well. The rock on, I could maybe use a little more.
The rock on is awesome.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. All right, on that note, thank you so much for your time, Simona.
Thank you, guys. Good job.